Hello all, welcome to another endgame study of the Solving Other Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This one comes from the Serbian chess composer Mirko Miljanić. It's an open space position, so normally a bit harder. I suggest you watch the guide if you haven't, so you are better prepared for the practice. If you're already prepared, then the main countdown of 10 minutes will start, and then I catch you up to start with the guided solution. And here we are. And although this is an open position at the beginning, there are not many moves to calculate. The forcing ones over here are the ones we should go on. And the best one is, of course, advancing the pawn c6, so checking the king and the knight. And if you wonder, okay, but we are sacrificing the knight, well, we are, but after we take the knight, it's going to be a discover check, and so we grab the queen. So it would be an easy win. So I think this is more or less peaceful to agree that it's easy to fight. The other one also, it's rook checking the king, but then of course the king goes to the corner. So I am able to go on with forcing moves, maybe a check from the knight, but of course the queen just, okay, thank you very much for the piece, because if the queen now checks again, then the rook can block it, the queen goes to the other side. But as you can see over here, there's not much white can do. In fact, it is forced to go ahead and accept the queen exchange, and so this just becomes a draw. So the first move, it's easy to find. We just check the king, and of course now we already saw that accepting the knight doesn't work because of the discover check and grabbing the queen, so making it easier. And so the king goes to the corner. So now it's the first moment again for you to think. It's another minute. Pause if you need more, and then I catch you up to go on. And I would say the fun starts now. Why? Because let's go with the first move that it's more or less obvious. Let's go with grabbing the knight. Okay, why this doesn't work? Of course, now it's black to play. And if you are thinking, okay, black will take my queen, I take with the pawn, and then it's game over because with the rook, I can check the king, then promote the pawn. So even if the rook goes behind, it's going to be an easy win. And if you have went here, don't worry, I have done the same mistake. I haven't saw the continuation from black. Let's see if you can find it. So first move from black is to check our king with the rook e2. Okay, now the king moves to f3, and a minute for you, but now to find how black can go from here. Notice that now we are threatening to take the rook, and we are keep threatening to take the queen. So find how black can escape from this position with a draw. And this is not easy, but it will become easier. we check the king. Of course, now the obvious move from white is to accept the sacrifice. Okay, we take the rook, thank you very much. And then sacrificing the queen. So this is the way how black can escape this one. Of course, now the king taking the queen, it's very easy. Notice that the king can't move because white pieces are restricting and there is no check. And so, without being able to accept the sacrifice, well, let's say we go to the side, but then the queen sacrifice on the other side. If it comes back, it just repeats. If it goes down, then check it again. And so we are always over here, and white can't escape having to take the queen. And when that happens, it's a stalemate draw. So the first obvious move coming from for the beginning of accepting the knight with the queen, that was my mistake. As you can see, black had a very brilliant escape to went to a stalemate draw from that. And the other option about taking the pawn is not very clever because this just allows black to go in free space with initiative, and black from here is going for a win. I can sample some moves, like say the king goes to e5, then we start to check, and it's from here, don't worry, it's going to be a win for black. Trust me, it's going to end up very badly for white. I'm just going ahead with speeding up the moves, but it's not possible to escape when we have a queen and a rook, and the same goes for white. Which side has the initiative normally just needs to go after the checking mate, so it's going to be a lost cause. What else I have here to show you before going to the brilliant one? Well, let's say we go with the rook g8, so more or less trying to pin the enemy queen, but this doesn't work. We just go with a simple check and fork. But notice here, the fork is not for the queen, but for the rook. Of course, the king now moves. Let's say it goes to e3, now attacking the rook. And now black needs to take the rook for a draw, and of course now maybe white takes the other rook, but of course from here, as you can see, we have more or less the draw without any chance of going for a win over here. But of course over here black could have made the mistake of going for the queen, but this just also loses the queen, and of course from here it's white, it's going to win again, and then in the end we are going to promote the pawn, forcing the knight to sacrifice, and so it's game over. But of course the line doesn't work if black plays the smart move of going directly for the rook. So without any options, are you prepared for the brilliant continuation? So we have advanced the pawn, the king went to the corner, we already have some fun with other variations, but now the main one is to sacrifice the knight on c7. Sacrifice the knight. We are going for a win, and we give away pieces. Of course, now black, no brains about it. It just accepts the knight. Now the only good continuation to go on, of course, is not exchanging pieces. Of course, we are not going to go ahead and take the knight because just exchanging is not possible, and taking with the pawn again, this just leaves too much room and for black to win. So here we need to go with the rook g8 check. Of course, now black is forced to go ahead and use this maneuver to avoid direct loss. So now we accept the rook, and instead of the knight going for the rook and offering the queen, it goes with knight b8. And so it's now white to play for a win again. And of course, as you can see over here, it's not also very difficult. If the queen takes the queen, it's just going to be stalemate again. So let's go for the countdown. 1 minute. Pause if you need more. It's the next move for white. We have just one good continuation to keep going on for the win. And we don't have many options over here because the key feature of this position is we need to protect our pawn because this is key to go for a win. And also we need to keep an eye for our rook. So the best escape over here, because don't forget this threat of checking and grabbing the rook. And so the only possible way for white over here is to go with queen h6, a very hard move to find, but the idea is okay, we need to first keep our material together. Other moves possible over here, let me show you some. Let me show you, what if I go with the battery of the queen and the rook? Well, it's black to play, don't forget. So first checking, and as you can see from here, it's going to be a draw. Well, white is going to be able to check forever, at least. And so it will be a draw. Other possible moves over here, let's say we protect just the pawn. Well, you get that option and then you lose the rook. And the other one, it's to, okay, let's no, there is no other one. We already talked about it. If we grab it, this is just a stalemate. So let's go with the main line, the queen going to h6, brilliant one. And now get ready for next move from black. A very smart one is to, of course, go ahead and then sacrifice. Of course, going with queen a7 doesn't work because here we are able to maneuver our king to escape the checks, let's say, for example, going over here. And so we are going to reduce the opportunities. Notice that now we are threatening to go on the a file. And so black can't do much with the check. So the best one is this brilliant sacrifice of the queen. Of course, accepting the queen is not working because it will be a stalemate draw. So last minute for you and find how can white go from here to a win. And I hope you are enjoying because this next move is also very, very, very cool. The move is going with the rook f5. Brilliant one. Sacrificing the queen. But honestly, well, the queen can't accept because it will lose the game. Of course, if going with the check again, we just protect with our pieces the checks, and so after a while there will not be any more useful checks. Let's say queen e2 is last one, so the king escapes. And so from here, it's next move, it's white, it's going to get the initiative, and it's game over with the threat of advancing the pawn and so on. It's game over. So here, it's impossible for black to avoid to accept the queen sacrifice. And now the finish of the game, it's also very enjoyable if we are playing white, of course. The rook checks the king, only move is to give away the knight, so we grab the knight with another check, maybe the king goes to the side, there are no other options, and so now we advance finally the c7 pawn with a check, a discover attack on the queen, and when the king takes the pawn, we grab the queen, and the final win that we were searching from the beginning. I hope you have enjoyed. I really enjoyed this one. And as always, I catch you up with future videos. Bye bye, and don't forget, keep checking